Joy Reid cried. Rachel Maddow lied. The days of the corporate press are coming to an end. So quite literally, Joy Reid cries. Her show's been canceled. We saw the news yesterday. She issued a statement on her show, and she urged everybody to follow her on social media, where she will likely not succeed, but sure. Rachel Maddow then went on her show and called MSNBC racist. I love this timeline. I'm not kidding. She flames MSNBC bosses for purging non-white anchors. Well, there's some new reporting shedding some light onto what exactly happened with the termination of Joy Reid's show. And apparently, she is an unhinged kook who was ranting and getting overly emotional. Uh-oh, they're going to call that sexist. But that's what the reporting says. Her unhinged tirades were viewed as over the top. She had this video where she said, who cares about white women's tears? Megyn Kelly responds, says, well, guess who's crying now? Goes viral. Don Lemon then makes a video saying, F you. And I'm sitting here being like, it's like idiocracy, you know what I mean? Look, I get it. This is where we are, for better or for worse. But I remember, at least maybe we romanticized the era where we had the nightly news anchor you could trust. Probably couldn't, but what did we know? And everything was more formal and professional. Now, it's all high school. That's where we're going. Infantilizing civilization, where instead of MSNBC, CNN, or Fox, or anybody, instead of that, well, actually, Fox does fairly well with this, but instead of these networks saying, here's the news and here's what happened, they're complaining about each other to each other. Now, I get it. YouTube's a different beast. We often have criticisms for other people in media, too. That was always allowed. But it's become so much of that. Guys, let me tell you, rarely on Timcast or Timcast IRL do we dedicate segments to going after YouTube drama. And there are a lot of channels that do, and they make substantially more money than we do. And that's the challenge, right? Who do you want to be? What do you want to build? What do you want to leave behind? Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of leftists who say, you know, they accuse me of engagement bait and rage bait and all that stuff. And I'm like, look, man, I got my limits. You know what I mean? I think what I think. I put what I put. I did not call Rachel Maddow's statement on race an unhinged rant, as sometimes I have referred to things she said and others as unhinged rants when they are. And I know unhinged rant is a great keyword that generates lots of traffic. But I don't think it was an unhinged rant. I think Rachel Maddow actually calmly articulated her frustrations with MSNBC. I disagree with it. And then she made implications that MSNBC was racist for firing non-white anchors. So I don't think it's, you know, an unhinged rant would be if she was like crying. And like Joy Reid had an unhinged rant where she's crying. And it's like unhinged meaning the logic is broken and you're overly emotional. Now, I'm not going to claim that I'm perfect by no means, but at least I try to be cognizant of what the media is turning into. And when the cable TV anchors break down and start slinging mud all at each other, I'm just like, ugh. Is this what you want? Seriously? It is. You know, we had a joke with the music stuff we were working on. We're going to write a song called Is This What You Want? And it's going to be insipid, droll, pop garbage about hanging out at a club, and the lyrics would be there'd be like 10 words in it, and the hook to the song was, is this what you want? And it's a double entendre, meaning, is this what the audience really wants? They don't want meaningful, passionate, intelligent lyrics. Like the song Like a Stone by Audio Slave. Talk about beauty. And it pains me that Tom Morello did the guitar for that. But hey, credit where credit is due. Talk about one of the greatest songs ever written. But no, I'll tell you what people want, my friends. They want Beast games. Mr. Beast. Hey, shout out to him. Actually, Mr. Beast is kind of all right. I'm not the biggest fan. He's gotten some weird scandals. But I don't mind regular old entertainment. If we're supposed to be the cream of the crop, the best in commentary, culture, and affairs, is this what it's become? MSNBC has fallen to such lows that this is what you get. Now we got Don Lemon, a man who for some reason was propped up on CNN with no talent, launches a YouTube channel. Hey, to his credit, he's got 500,000 followers on YouTube. Congratulations, I guess. You're a small to medium-sized YouTuber now who's probably making, low six figures. How's that $1 million contract feeling now? But he comes out and he starts cussing at Megyn Kelly. Why? Because it's getting him attention. And here I am talking about him. I'm not going to talk about him for the same reason others are. But if you look at his videos, he gets like 10 to 30,000 views for video. That's not bad, man. He might be getting $600 per video with a sponsor spot plus another 100 from programmatic ads. Wouldn't you like to talk about nonsense for 10 minutes and get $700 for doing it? So rag on him all you want. The dude's making money. But his latest video where he insults Megyn Kelly, now he's getting, what do you get, 60,000? 60,000. So he's going to be able to pull in over $1,000. Heavens to Betsy. This is the motivation these people have. They were never good people. They were never, I'm not going to call them the stupidest people, but they were never talented super geniuses. They were capable of saying words to a camera. And for a long time, the media said, we want to maintain some decorum in media to compete. We want the viewer to look at us as the best and most professional because we are the anchors. We are those who are giving truth to the masses. And then along came the internet, and people now had a choice. Inflammatory, emotion, mission-driven storytelling took over, and the corporate cable channels went in that direction. Now, we can roast the corporate media and the liberal narrative machine for falling apart, and it is. But there still are major contenders that are popping up. So it would be foolish. You know, last night we had Joey Manarino on, and he's basically saying they're all gone. I say, that's not the case. You are going to see the likes of MSNBC, Comcast, former parent company, the DNC. They are going to be sinking money into prominent liberal personalities with big YouTube channels that are being put on the front page of YouTube, despite the fact they lie all the time. They are going to get access you could only ever dream of because they're willing to lie. And that's the game we're playing right now. But let's break it all down. Where the current state of media is. And I got news for you guys. I asked our old friend ChatGPT, which has become slow and useless, by the way. I don't even know why I use it, but to break down the demographics of the corporate media environment. And it's now. The death of the corporate liberal environment is now. I won't bear the lead. The average viewer for MSNBC is 70 years old. And while many people say, yeah, but life expectancy is 78, in fact, cognitive decline and what would you say, infirmity? Is that perhaps the word? I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. Hits between 65 and 70. Now, I know a lot of 65-year-olds who are totally fit, healthy, and capable. I'm not saying that they are all incapable of looking at the TV or watching the news. But this is the point where many people start to face cognitive decline. And around this age, they are no longer actually watching MSNBC. More importantly, buying products, meaning that the advertisements are becoming worthless. I guess what I'm trying to say is we're not going to wait 8 more years to see MSNBC collapse. Their ratings are already in the gutter, despite the fact they get millions of 70-year-old plus viewers. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this is the reality. The cognitive decline and increase exponentially. It's a parabolic curve from 65 to 78. Meaning, I know there's 70-year-olds out there right now watching saying, I'm totally fine. I watch the news. My brain works. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the 10, 20% who don't anymore. And that's the principal viewership of cable networks. In a year, it'll be 23%. In 3 years, it'll be 47%. It's not going to be 8 to where it's like, that's life expectancy. Now all their viewers have passed on. It's happening right now. This is the end. It'll happen to us too. You know, in 30 years, we're going to be on YouTube being like, you know, I used to get 200,000 views on these videos. Now I get 15. And the kids are all going to be neural linked into the hive, floating around in laser chairs or whatever's going on. I'm kidding, by the way. I don't actually know what's going to happen in the future. Well, let's take a look at the news, and I'll play these videos for you. Before we get started, of course, my friends, you've got to smash the like button. You got to smash it. And then you've also got to check out castbrew.com and buy coffee. Who knows where Cast Brew will be in the future. But we got Ian's Graphene Dream, which has 2 left. 2 bags left. Holy crap. Y'all are putting Ian through college, and you know he needs it. No, legit. Like, this is Ian's professional branded coffee. And it's like, as much as people always say they hate Ian, he is taking this company to a new level. I got to be completely honest. He's getting paid for it. Don't get me wrong. But look at this. So it looks like, it looks like Ian's Graphene Dream has become our second biggest. No, I think they got to be number 1. So if you look at how it ranks, this is like top sellers. Ian's Graphene Dream being new, I think its all-time sales is now our second biggest all-time, but since its launch, it's number one. And so, sorry, there's only 2 bags left, and it's probably already gone because people watching have bought them. But you can also get Appalachian Nights, which is very, very good. Ian's Graphene Dream is low acidity. Stand Your Grounds, Rise of the Birdo Jr., and don't forget, jump on in and check out Focus with Mr. Bocus, our espresso roast, and Misty Mountains. Look at that beautiful Misty Mountains bag. Oof, Costa Rican blend. Wonderful. And of course, you can go to rumble.com/TimcastIRL for our premium content. And we got this Green Room episode up from the other day with Joey Manarino. Fatherhood, children, and the importance of family. So basically what happened was I showed up late because, look, I'm at home with the wife and the baby, a new baby, and couldn't be more excited about anything else. So normally we show up to the studio and start getting everything's ready for the Green Room, but I'm going to spend as much time with my family as I can. And I came in, and Joey and Chuck were talking, and conversation came up of like, Tim, you're back, and you have a baby. And so I told the basic story, and some details were bleeped for privacy, and told basically, how things went down and having a kid. If you're interested in that story, it's at rumble.com/TimcastIRL for premium members only. With all that being said, let's take a look at what Rachel Maddow had to say. So as most of you know, Joy Reid was fired. And good, I guess. She's an awful person. She's a nasty, nasty person. And I got the receipts. And I believe I have the video here of Rachel Maddow. It's 4 minutes. I don't think I'm going to play the full thing. Now, Nick Sorter, he'll be joining us tonight on Timcast IRL, said, Rachel Maddow just went on an unhinged 4-minute rant against MSNBC, her own network, for sacking Joy Reid. MSNBC is in its final spiral into the ground. It ain't coming back. Elon should take it over. I'm not going to call it an unhinged rant. I watched it. She's not banging on the table, screaming, but I would call it hilarious in that she basically calls MSNBC racist, which is just so much fun.
PM hour, all the other nights except for Mondays. So that's a big change. An even bigger programming change is at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern, where Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And Joy is not taking a different job in the network. She is leaving the network altogether. And that is very, very, very hard to take. I am 51 years old. I have been gainfully employed since I was 12. And I have had so many different kinds of jobs, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her. I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door.
I will just pause and say, I really blah, blah, blah. But I wouldn't call it unhinged, guys. She's very calmly explaining why she likes Joy Reid. She's wrong, of course.
It is not my call, and I understand that. But that's what I think. I will tell you, it is also unnerving to see that on a network where we've got two non-white hosts in primetime, both of our non-white hosts in primetime are losing their shows, as is Katie Fang on the weekend.
Get woke, go broke? I don't know. Look, excuse me. I don't think they hired Joy Reid for her raw talent. I think that you've got channels like MSNBC that want to pander. And there are many prominent, intelligent individuals of various ethnic backgrounds, and they end up choosing the progressive, leftist black woman Joy Reid, largely because it fits a narrative. They want someone who fits the diversity like a narrative that will also preach to that audience. I am not saying Joy Reid was a diversity hire. Component of it, obviously, Rachel Maddow is actually laying it out for us. They have only 2 people of color, and they fired them both.
And that feels worse than bad, no matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. But there's just one other piece of it that you should know.
Oh, yeah.
From your side of the TV screen, you will mostly see changes in terms of who's in the anchor chair. And actually, everybody who's going to be in anchor chairs from here on out are great colleagues and great at what they do, and you are not going to be disappointed in who's on our air and what you're going to be seeing.
I'm going to pause right there, lady. Yes, they are. That's why your ratings are going down. Can I just repeat that one more time? Rachel Maddow says you're not going to be disappointed. Clearly, people have been increasingly disappointed with your failing network as nobody watches it anymore.
But one thing you cannot necessarily see is that the people who get our shows on the air, they're really being put through the ringer. Dozens of producers and staffers, including some who are among the most experienced and most talented and most specialist producers in the building, are facing being laid off. They're being invited to reapply for new jobs. That has never happened at this scale in this way before when it comes to programming changes.
Wow.
Presumably because
I almost feel like, Rachel Maddow was getting ready for primetime and she was like, guys, I just feel like we want regular Americans, post-liberals, suspected liberals, conservatives to have a really good night. Can I make a statement that just warms their hearts? So it's not just Joy Reid who's getting fired. It's all of her producers and staff. Oh,
because it's not the right way to treat people, and it's inefficient, and it's unnecessary.
Oh, please.
And
Your failing network makes no money.
Out of whether or not people feel like this is a good place to work, and so we don't generally do things that way. Maybe all of our folks, including most of the people who are getting this very show on the air right now, maybe they will all get new jobs here, and I hope they do. But in the meantime, being put in this kind of limbo, the anxiety and the discombobulation is off the charts at a time when this job already is extra stressful and difficult. It is not news for me to tell you that the press and freedom of the press are under attack in a way that is really... It's a big deal for our country. It's very visceral for us here. I know that the business of the press is not an easy thing.
Is she literally trying to insinuate the termination of Joy Reid is an attack on free speech, or that Joy Reid being lost is a great challenge and risk to all of us? Now, to be fair, it is a little unhinged. I wouldn't call it a rant. I guess my thing is, you can see the disconnect in her function, the function of her brain. But I just didn't want to say unhinged rant because she's not like waving her arms and screaming. She's just very stupidly saying things that are dumb. You want to talk about Joy Reid getting fired? Let's do it. The Daily Mail's got the story. Yeah, Joy Reid cried. Do I have Joy Reid crying? Did I not pull that one up? We got Don Lemon freaking out. Let me make sure. Okay, I'll get the Joy Reid crying because we covered it yesterday. That's why I didn't pull it up. But considering Rachel Maddow's rant and all that stuff, all right, fine. Let me scroll down and see if I've got. Oh, here's Joy Reid begging people to follow her. I actually don't care to play that. Don't follow her. She's awful. And then, we also have that Dan Crenshaw thing where he threatened to kill Tucker Carlson. Talk about wild. Here's the video of Joy Reid crying. Okay.
My show had value.
No, it didn't.
And
nobody watched it.
I'm sorry. That what I was doing had value.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again, lady. Nobody watched it. You didn't have value. That's why they fired you. This is not. I don't understand what this is. Okay. Cernovich says Joy Reid called Jack Posobiec and me Russian agents. He tried taking us out. Who is standing with you, demon? Okay, Joy Reid. Is it conspiracy? This is the narrative they're playing, okay? Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid are trying to push this narrative that her show ends largely for some racist reason. Is that all you've got? My show had value. It had value. It clearly didn't, okay? The amount of money it takes to run your show versus what they were generating was no, we're not going to do it. Now, here's the real story. Uh-oh. Breaking news from Daily Mail, how Joy Reid infuriated MSNBC bosses and signed death warrant for her show. They say that she shot herself in the foot with inflammatory social media posts that drove MSNBC bosses to cancel her show. An industry expert says. Okay. So it's some guy's opinion. I don't think he's wrong, though. It's not like it's insider information. Status News reported that Reid's constant progressive anti-Trump rants unsettled MSNBC bosses who are seeking to foster a less biased-sounding liberal news network during the second Trump administration. I think it's actually really simple for everybody. You see, the popular mandate that Trump won, this is why I was saying Trump needs to win the popular vote. The popular mandate that Trump won was a signal to all the corporations and to the press, you are on the wrong side of history. And so how did they react? exactly as predicted. They are trying now to pull back from the fringes of the far left, and that means, Joy Reid, you got to go. Comcast executives Mark Lazarus is said to want to change the perception that Republicans cannot get a fair shake from the network. Well, they can't. Trump has blasted the network as losers, calling MSNBC head Brian Roberts a low-life chairman, while branding Reid a mentally obnoxious racist. Meanwhile, the writing was reportedly on the wall for Reid as early as last year, when her 5-year contract with MSNBC ended, and she was only offered a 1-year extension. On Monday, Reid anchored the Reid Out, holding a summit with her fellow MSNBC anchors, as she warned that fascism isn't just coming, it's already here. Aw. Reid made sure to equate Trumpism with fascism before gathering what she called her super friends of fellow anchors from the struggling network that is being sold off, by the way. I got to admit, I am torn. I am torn. Part of me knows that most people who are browsing YouTube are going to be like, who? And that's a challenge. That's a challenge. You know, as I mentioned early on, if I made a video and I said something like, you know, like if we made an AI image of Elon throwing a government symbol, you know, into a shredding machine or something, and it's like Elon just, if I did something like that, it would probably get way more views. Maybe we can learn to adapt. I don't know. I'm more just, this is, I'm sorry. It's visceral. The media, the lies, the cheating, the stealing has been calling this out. Stopping this evil has been one of the principal motivators of me and everything I've done. So for those that are not familiar, when I first got started, you know, I had a YouTube channel and I was filming stuff on the ground because I largely was just like, hey, I like going places and filming things that are happening. I did that for Vice and for Fusion. I did that before Vice. And Carl Benjamin, Sargon Avocado at the time, I think he had like 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. Funny, right? And I had, I don't know, like 40. And then he asked me if I would like to make a video for his channel as a guest while he was on vacation. And I said, sure, I'll do something about how the media lies to you, techniques they use to manipulate you. And it did really well. It got a lot of views. And then that video put me over 100,000 subscribers. I was like, wow. All of a sudden, thanks to the boost from Carl Benjamin, who will be here this week, this was the birth of the company. And it was me literally calling out the corporate press for the lies and the manipulations that they had been increasingly engaged in. As someone who had worked in the media, largely because I wanted to tell people what was going on, I'm at Occupy Wall Street. I know everyone says, Tim, we know you're there. Yes, I was there and many other places, and I saw the media lying all the time, and it was ludicrous. A van would pull up, a guy would walk out, look around, turn around towards the van and say, I'm standing here at Occupy Wall Street, and then just make stuff up. And I'm like, yo, did you talk to a single person here and figure out what was going on? Nope. They didn't care. And so I, as well as many other individuals there, were filming and Luke Rutkowski was there, documenting what we saw was going on because he knew the machine was lying. And so from this, I get involved in the industry. I'm producing news, and I'm like, you know, everything we did was at these companies that I produced was above board. Did a North Korea documentary, did Kim.com, did some big show, Ukraine, big shows with Vice. Saw what we saw, found what we found, interviewed people, and it was all put out exactly as we found it. It seemed legit. And then I started to watch these industries go corrupt. So today, when I see Maddow, when I see MSNBC in free fall, I think to myself, this is what we have hoped for so long. This could be the end of a major arc in American history where the media machine lied. But my friends, the birth of a new machine is upon us. And there are prominent left and liberal personalities with millions of followers who have gamed the machine much better than, say, Joy Reid. And through their intelligence and their merit, yes, I dare say it, these are the evil people who would lie, cheat, or steal, altering the narrative because they know it drives and makes them money. They know what they're saying is wrong, but they don't care. And then there are channels like this one where you have disparate political views who will tell you the truth. And we make money doing it, but we're certainly not as big as some of these massive liberal podcasts. The biggest podcasts in the world now are starting to lean liberal. They're being propped up, and these people are playing the game where they know they can lie to get the clicks. I just want to give a shout out real quick to Joy Reid for her homophobic blog post controversy in 2018. I want you to understand who this person is, okay? She lied the whole time. Her talking points are fake. She was saying what she thought sold. So let's just, the analogy I like to use is ice cream. Progressivism and far left ideology is asparagus flavored ice cream. Some people might like it. Kind of weird if you ask me. Let's call it asparagus and mayonnaise ice cream, right? You're going to be like, I don't want to eat that. You'd be surprised some of the weird ice cream flavors they make. The point is, it was the only thing they were selling. Any company that would make chocolate chip cookie dough and brought to the store would say, that's banned. What do you mean we can't have chocolate chip? We banned that. That's hateful. And this is what was happening. The media apparatus on social media and in the corporate press was effectively saying your ideas are not allowed to be sold to the American public through collusion and market controls. The American people wanted a nice hearty scoop of chocolate chip. And instead, every time they tried to buy it, they were blocked at the register and told they could only have the Joy Reid asparagus. So you ended up with a lot of personalities adapting to that censorship big tech machine and corporate machine. You ended up with people like Joy Reid, who interestingly said that people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. That's what she had wrote. She tried claiming she didn't. She's like, how could I have said such a thing? Well, because you're a liar. And then she changed her tune to be far left BLM because that's what was allowed to be sold. Now that we have won this battle, Trump is in, big tech is panicking, Rumble is rising, and we are seeing an emergence of a space in which people can post their content wherever. Meritocracy in the market is taking things back. And people have found a place to buy that delicious chocolate chip ice cream. And so that means they stopped buying your disgusting garbage. Joy Reid is crying because she's realizing that in the marketplace of actual ideas, and I mean the literal marketplace where people pay to watch shows, ain't nobody wants to watch your garbage. It's awful. And now she's sad about it. When she posted back in, what did they say, 2010 or whatever? Wasn't even that long ago. 2010, she was posting things. She said something to the effect of like, people cringe at the sight of two men kissing is one of the things. Most straight people cringe at the sight of two men kissing. It's kind of weird because I don't think she's wrong. Like, they're straight. I'm sure gay people don't like straight people kissing, whatever. I don't know. But that was only 2010. So what happened? Well, her personality is for sale. Whatever she's told to say, she'll say. And so she did. And now she is trapped in a marketplace that nobody wants to pay for. Goodbye. Where do we end up? Oh, boy. Oh, we got Don Lemon. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Why are we talking about Don Lemon? We are going to have to find an electronic underground railroad. Heavens me, these people are addicted. Don Lemon and his pastor think Joy Reid's cancellation will lead to more job losses for black journalists. Let's roll.
It's going to be a lot more of those kinds of voices and a lot more people of color who you won't see anymore where they once were.
No, let me first pause and thank you for glowing in the dark.
Glowing in the dark, huh?
A consistent voice and presence and mind for...
Okay, I'm not getting to that. You get the point, Don. Well, here we go. Before we get back to Don Lemon, Megyn Kelly chimes in. Reveling in the schadenfreude that is Joy Reid, who mocked white tears of liberal women. I'm sorry, white tears of women in general. Megyn Kelly says, who's crying now? And, oh boy. Megyn Kelly had little sympathy for Joy Reid. She said, remember when Joy Reid laughingly mocked white women tears as pathetic and offensive to her? Who's crying now, Joy? Kelly, host of the Megyn Kelly Show on Sirius XM, wrote on her X account over the weekend, good riddance to the absolute worst person on television and shame on NBC for letting it go this long. Now, I want to tell you, certainly Megyn Kelly is a prominent person with a very large show. She has millions of subscribers on YouTube. She gets hundreds of thousands of views. She's got a big podcast, one of the top podcasts. They're singling out Megyn Kelly for the narrative machine. This is the game they're playing. Megyn isn't the only one who expresses opinion. This is the general opinion most people have of Joy Reid. So I'm not saying this to disrespect Megyn Kelly in any way. I'm saying she noticed what everyone else noticed. Joy Reid is a nasty person who insults and derides, and then when it comes her way, now she's the victim. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Don Lemon tells Megyn Kelly, go F yourself after Joy Reid rant. During a 20-minute tirade on his YouTube show, Lemon savaged the former Fox News anchor. Here we are. I guess that's just it. That's the story. I have the video. I'm not going to play it because he's vulgar, but I will explain why I'm showing it and where we are. Don Lemon seems to be having a rough day, LOL. from Timcast News. Guys, if you're on X, make sure you're following at Timcast News, because we often, I'll tell you this. When these big accounts with millions of followers post video clips, I got to tell you, we often find them first. Hey, I follow some of these big accounts as well, but we got a crack team of investigators and journalists who are scouring the internet, watching all of these shows. And our team, we watch liberal shows. We go to left subreddits, and you really should. Steve Bannon mentions it all the time. He only watches MSNBC. He wants to know what they're talking about. So follow at Timcast News. Get the news first. At Timcast News on X. Look at that beautiful gold check mark. Shout out. We've been getting a lot of followers lately. Shout out to Sean Frasick, who's been running that and sourcing all these things. But back to the news. Don Lemon issues his vulgarities as he urges you to become a member on YouTube. All right. Here's Megyn Kelly on YouTube. Megyn Kelly has 3.4 million subscribers. Wow. She's been, let's the oldest video for Megyn Kelly is 5 years ago. And this was back when I think she was still working on networks and things like this. I don't think this was when she was solely on YouTube, but she had the YouTube channel starting up. I am deeply impressed. Megyn Kelly is a powerhouse, of course. She is intelligent and merit. She has the merit and capabilities, as is proven by her channel. In 5 years, since 2020, she's grown to 3.4 million subs, and she routinely gets hundreds of thousands of views on each of her video segments. Well done. She got a great team behind her, and she is a masterful talent. I am sincerely impressed. Megyn Kelly left network TV. That she tried going to NBC. She asked an honest question about why is blackface offensive? Like, seriously, like, some people don't know, and they fired her over it. These people are stupid. Well, this is the game. NBC had an opportunity to have Megyn Kelly. She's one of the biggest personalities. They threw it away. But hey, MSNBC, how's it going with Joy Reid? Well, here's the main point. When Megyn Kelly leaves and says, this is the route we are taking, independent, individually hosted shows and podcasts. She got a show on XM, weekdays, noon to 2. She skyrockets to millions of subscribers, hundreds of thousands of views. Masterfully done. As soon as she leaves the networks, she proves why they hired her in the first place. Quick wit and insight, leading her to a successful channel. And I mean that sincerely. You can't doubt it. You can't. And they're liberal podcasters. I would also call having the merit and intelligence. I just think that they're smarmy liars. Certainly, you're entitled to your opinions. I will defend some of the videos they make and say they're entitled to their opinions on things, but they often just lie. All right, Donnie boy. Don Lemon, how you doing? Don Lemon's got 500,000 subscribers. Now, to be fair, he's been on for about a year, so that's not bad. But when he comes out and he insults Megyn Kelly, I tell you, there's only one reason he's doing it. He's doing it because he got 54,000 views in 18 hours on the video by saying, go F yourself. His last video, Lemon Drop, got 14,000. Then his Right Gone Woke, 30,000. 14, 15, 12, 46. 120 on this one. Federal Worker Speaks Out. Let me just say, I don't know where Don Lemon goes, but he's building it up. He's figuring it out. And I issued this warning. The machine is not going to stop here. The corporate narrative machine isn't just going to go, oh, geez, the cable news networks are no longer making money. I quit. Nope. Democrat, deep state, corrupt individuals are going to say, where can we direct funding so that we can grow our side of this narrative? And they're going to dump money into these channels. I don't know about Don Lemon, to be honest. There are much bigger YouTubers with big shows that are taking off and gaining massive amounts of followings. And they're willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get it. They absolutely are. Let me just say it like this. The Covington kids. You all know the story. One of the most obvious stories. When the Covington kids story came out, let me tell you, I had a YouTube manager. YouTube has they basically have agents and managers that work with different personalities. And a funny thing happened. David Pakman and I had the same manager, the same one. And the Covington story happened. This is where the kids were on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The Native American man got in his face and banged the drum in his face. And I made a video debunking it. At the time, I would get maybe like 100 to 200,000 views per video, and I would do I think I was only doing a handful of videos per day. I might have been doing 5 per day at that point. This video exploded and got 500,000 overnight as people started to realize the truth. I was sent information. The first thing is, when I saw the video, I was like, I don't know what this is. And people like, Tim, you should talk about this and call this kid out. And I was like, what's happening? It's like a kid and a guy standing there. I don't even know who's doing what. They wanted everyone to just assume that this Nick Salmon kid did something wrong. This is like 7 years ago now. Isn't that crazy? And I didn't. I was like, I don't know what happened or who did what or why I'm supposed to be mad about this. So I began digging into it. Many other people were also digging into it. I was sent a 2-hour-long live stream of the whole event, watched it, and then said, hey, look at that. The Native American man got in the kid's face. The kid was innocent. So I made a video about it. The video took off, got a ton of views. Shortly after this, I was informed that my YouTube manager would be changing. And I got a different YouTube manager. And I asked some of the liberals, people that I knew who had the same manager as me before, and I said, did you get a new manager? And they're like, no. It would appear to me that YouTube has different managers based on your political ideology or perceived ideology. And despite the fact that I was largely a liberal at that time, very much still supporting the Democratic Party. I supported the Democrats in 2020. Crazy, right? Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang. Well, Tulsi's here with Trump now, so I'm excited. Seems like I won. But that's the game that they were playing. They have different metrics and methods for propping up different individuals and working with them, different standards, and that's the game. They did not like the narratives that I was pushing out, despite the fact that they were true. So where are we? Now, look, let's take a look at some of Don Lemon's videos. Fired government worker speaks out. So what? Bring Al Franken. It's not so bad. Worst press secretary ever. That's an opinion. I think it's wrong. Karine Jean-Pierre was really bad. Jen Psaki was good. I maintained it the whole time. Jen Psaki was good at her job. She's nasty, you know. She like, I don't consider any. It's surprising, man. It's weird to say, but Spicer, McEnany, Levitt, they're actually doing a good job of explaining the positions of the government. Psaki did a great job of handling the press, as was her job, and I think anybody's a fool for denying that. GOP terrified of Elon, the Project 2025. Lemon is not playing as dirty a game as most. This video from him is one of the dirtier moves he's made, and it's a shame. As much as I don't like Don Lemon, and I think he's very ignorant and doesn't know what he's talking about, he wasn't doing the same game as other people were. I should take that back. Not as heavy, but we're going to see it. Now take a look at Megyn Kelly's show. Here's Trump's strategy to bring Russia and Ukraine to the table. Man, she got 100K views on that. That's 96K, but we're rounding up. And it's extremely straightforward. Here's one. How the left is staying on the unpopular side of the trans issue. Very straightforward. Joy Reid finally fired. Bongino joins Trump administration. Super straightforward. Hour and 40-minute show. 300,000 views. I mean, I respect this. You don't have to like Megyn Kelly's opinions, but I respect that her video titles are just normal. Even more normal than mine. I spice mine up a little bit. Germany's leader had some tough words for Trump. I'm impressed. People really do respect Megyn Kelly. Don Lemon, don't play that game. Don't play that game. Let's do this, though. I definitely want to talk about the, CNN is announcing layoffs. Right. It's not just MSNBC. Let's not forget our good friends over at CNN. But let's do this. Let's do this. Thursday, February 13th, evening cable news ratings. MSNBC's Rachel Maddow had 2 million total viewers. Wow. Maddow's show was also on top in the adults 25 to 54 demo. Wow. Well, I'm not surprised. What people, what you can expect is when you're in the opposition, people start getting worried and then start seeking to opposition media. This is how you get the ebb and flow of the political cycle. Let's take a look at what's going on. This is from just last week. MSNBC's The Rachel Maddow Show crossed 2 million total viewers. Interesting. But what does that mean? So here's the key demo. Let's go to 7 p.m. Laura Ingraham in the key demo with 437,000 viewers. Wow. Look at this one, the 547,000 key demo viewers. I'm proud to say, rather surprisingly, Timcast IRL beats all of these shows. That's cool. Don't get me wrong, people don't watch cable news anymore, and I am the clips from Fox News they put on YouTube and stuff do really well. Here's CNN's key demo. Let's go to 8 p.m. Anderson Cooper, 137. Hayes, 119. Hey, Joy Reid, she got 120,000 in the key demo. And they fired her. That's surprising because Melber was doing worse. Rachel Maddow got 212 in the key demo. Guys, I got to be honest. I can take my phone right now. I can point it at my face. And I can say, I can do the chicken dance. I get way more views than that. And to be honest, there are tons of people that get way more views. Okay, let's talk about news, though. Yeah, I've got a bunch of videos. Just single sentence commentary on news, single sentence, gets more views than Rachel Maddow gets in the key demo. But hold on. Total viewership is massive. The 5 gets nearly 5 million viewers. That's crazy. Joy Reid got 1 million viewers at 7 p.m. Here's the thing. It's overwhelmingly over 70 years old. And I'm not trying to brag on old people, but the world is a-changing. The ebb and flow, the cycle of life, the emergent phenomenon of cultural development. It is before us. And these personalities, they're done. Now me, I'm going to be 39 in a week, just a week and a half or so. I'll be 39 years old. It's kind of wild because I started doing media at 25. I remember when I was younger and I hear people say things, I've been working in this industry for 20 years. And I'm like, that's crazy. I couldn't have worked anywhere for 20 years. I'm 5 years old. But now that I'm close to 40, and I'm like, yeah, I've been working in media for a very long time. A very, very long time. And probably will continue to. Look at Gutfeld, 3.38 million. Fox, slaying. Well, I jumped over to my good friend ChatGPT, and I asked it some questions. What is the average age of an MSNBC viewer? As of recent reports, the median age of MSNBC viewers is approximately 70 years old. This indicates that half of MSNBC's audience is older than 70 and half is younger. The trend of an older viewership is consistent across major cable news networks. For instance, Fox News has a median viewer age of 69 and CNN's is 68. So this, what I'm about to say, will apply to all of them. The aging audience reflects broader shifts. Actually, can I, this is from 109 days ago. That's important to know because that means the average age has gone up since then. The aging audience reflects broader shifts in media consumption habits with younger demographics increasingly turning to digital platforms. So I said, what is the average life expectancy of a human? Worldwide, 73. However, they go to mention that in the U.S., life expectancy as of 2023 is 78.4 years old, which is lower than the average of 82.5 in comparable countries. It's important to note that while people are living longer, the number of years spent in good health has not increased. This is important. On average, individuals worldwide experience about 9.6 years of illness during their lifetimes, with Americans experiencing over 12 years of disease burden. Can I just point out, RFK Jr. is right. These disparities highlight the need to focus not only on extending lifespan, but improving health span, the period of lifespan in good health. With that being said, interesting. So we're not just looking at an aging demographic that at 70 years old is watching the news just fine. No. People don't just live healthy lives where everything's normal and at 78 just drop dead. Typically, people are in a decline until that point, which means there's likely a different number to indicate the age, the average age at which MSNBC and CNN cease to exist. A lot of factors here. So I said, if a person on average lives to 78, at what age do they start to experience debilitating health effects that hinder their ability to live normally? And ChatGPT says on average, around 65 to 70 years old is when this begins. Studies show that while life expectancy is around 78, healthy life expectancies is closer to 66 to 70 years old in many developed countries. This means most people spend 8 to 12 years dealing with chronic disease or mobility limitations that hinder normal living. That is not to say, my friends, that at 70 years old, every single person, as I mentioned earlier, is incapable of functioning properly. It means that the rate at which mental decline and the ability to be an MSNBC viewer, the rate of decline is higher. There's going to be a cascade failure, and there's going to be a point of no return. So how does this work? There is a point at which the infrastructure of MSNBC is too expensive to maintain. Comcast has already said they're selling off this company, and they fired 2 hosts. They probably paid Joy Reid too much. They're going to bring on someone, and they're going to say, we're going to pay you nothing. They're going to pay him dirt. A couple $100,000 a year. Hey, not bad. It ain't nothing. But for a job that once paid millions, Rachel Maddow getting $25 million, and she knows she's next. As more and more people drop off, and the viewers that they do have are no longer in the purchasing demographic, You'll notice if you watch MSNBC, the ads are all for like reverse mortgages and A1C medications. And there's this one where it's EKG on the run. I got to be honest, 30-year-olds ain't buying mobile EKGs. In fact, to be honest, my watch basically does it already. Don't need to buy that product. When these people no longer need to or are able to buy products, and that's their average viewer. Again, I'm not trying to be mean. Advertisers stop buying. That means they're not going to be able to pay any of their talent. They're not going to be able to pay producers or the studio space. And eventually the cost of maintaining the show exceeds the amount of money they could possibly make from it. This is happening right now. We have waited for this moment. And that means it's not going to be 8 years from now when their average viewer is dying. It's right now. They're going to start selling off parts of their studios, selling off parts of their network. It cannot maintain itself any longer. It's like Blockbuster Video. Now, these channels had an opportunity to adapt. Some of them did, and many of them didn't. Hence, Megyn Kelly is no longer at Fox or NBC or wherever else. She's running her own thing. She doesn't need to work for a company anymore. Certainly, there are networking opportunities. What was once a giant broadcast tower where they would appoint people like Don Lemon at the top, we're now dealing with a decentralized media landscape. Networking is going to be important. Hence, we work with Rumble. When you guys watch Rumble Premium on Rumble, you don't just get the Green Room Uncensored show, our feature-length documentaries. You actually get access to Mug Club, Steven Crowder's work, as well as Dr. Disrespect and all of the other big talent, Russell Brand, that are on Rumble. So it's everybody. It's a great system. And this network effect allows us to build up bigger audiences, bigger spheres of influence, and grow beyond what we could do on our own. And we still all own our companies. It's fantastic. So let me tell you this. Since we joined with Rumble, our viewership is up some 70, 80%. It's massive. And this is tremendous for us because it means when we go to our sales team and they're trying to get ad reads, it's been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible. Literally the day after we team up with Rumble, Rumble is selling at a higher rate. Our viewership jumps. In the first week, we're like, bang, look at this. Bigger audience network effect. And so what we're looking at right now is the broadcast towers have crumbled. We were left with a decentralized space of all these individuals. Joe Rogan, just some dude doing a podcast on his own, by himself, with like one other guy. I think he's got a couple people on his team. But now things are going to start centralizing to a certain degree again, because people that work together will maintain a larger sphere of influence than those who are individuals. So what ends up happening is we have a hybrid of the two systems. If you run CNN and CNN as a channel was generating millions of views because people turned on CNN, there's nothing else to turn on. Getting that coveted anchor position was the dream come true. They'd say, we're going to put you on TV, you're famous. Whether anyone knows you or not, whether you have the talent or not. And they did. But now it doesn't work that way. Now you have to be an individual of merit and capability to build the channel yourself. That's where we went. Channels like mine, obviously Crowder and many others. Some did team up with networks, don't get me wrong. Crowder was with The Blaze. You've got Daily Wire, for instance. But early on, many of the biggest shows were just single individuals. Like I mentioned, Megyn Kelly launching her own thing. Some of them work with sales networks, but for the most part, largely individuals running their own companies. And now networks are starting to emerge once again. Rumble being one of the biggest players in the space with Rumble Premium, where I think this may be the only major player where you sign up to my Tim Pool Premium behind the scenes content, it grants you access to everybody's content. It's been fantastic for us. We tripled our premium membership viewership overnight. And so those moves are going to create a hybrid, a much better system. Ain't nobody going to tell Steven Crowder what to say. Ain't nobody to tell me what to say. But we're now going to be networked so I can promote his content, he can promote mine. And it's not just Crowder, it's everybody else on Rumble. The network effect is going to create a pocket of influence. You've got the YouTube creators, and YouTube props them up, and they're massive. And we're on YouTube, of course. But then you're going to have Rumble's sphere of influence. More people are going to watch Rumble for whatever reason they do. And when they turn Rumble on, just like they turned on CNN, they're going to see a network of content creators. And when they buy the premium because they like what they're getting, they will instantly get access to a ton of other shows to discover. This is going to create a massive opportunity for channels like mine and all the new ones that are popping up and joining Rumble Premium because that network effect. So imagine this. Imagine you launched a podcast and you were on Rumble and you made premium content And people are like, why am I going to buy your premium content? Dude, I don't care. And then you were like, because you get Tim Pool's content too. Imagine being able to use my members only content to promote your channel. And that's kind of obvious. That network effect is going to be massive. It is a new era. I'm interested to see where it goes, because these channels will have a tremendous opportunity in creating something similar to what we saw with the cable channels before us. That is to say, if Rumble grows big enough and they have a natural audience that uses Rumble that competes against YouTube, and it does, though YouTube is obviously the big player, what happens when there's people who say, I don't like the shows on YouTube because it always recommends garbage, so I just go to Rumble because I like those shows. That's no different than any other channel. These websites, I think in the future, will move towards a more decentralized structure. So let me give you some inside baseball as I love talking about media. Spotify recently launched their video format. They really want video podcasts. YouTube had video podcasting from the beginning. And do you know what they did? They started banning the big video podcasters. Weird, right? Why would they do that? Because they were scared. Political conversations were scary. So they banned a lot of these people. Started driving video podcast content. If you watched a video podcast, which literally could be anybody, Joe Rogan, me, or otherwise, you were more likely to get recommended Fox, CNN, or MSNBC. They did not want a conversation in this space. They wanted it TV-style format. So they burned themselves down. Now they're bragging about the access they have with a podcast section. Leadership changed, I get it. Rumble emerges specifically to bring these video podcasters on. First in, best dressed. So I'll tell you this. Spotify, massive player in the game with podcasting. They bought the Joe Rogan license. They wanted to build up their presence. Viewership is still substantially smaller. This is crazy. So we've been on Rumble for some time, and now we're formally on Rumble with the shows live, this show live, of course. And the full podcast viewership is some 4 or 5 times higher than Spotify's. And I'm not going to pretend like we're the biggest podcast on Spotify or anything like that. But if I've been on Spotify with my morning show on IRL for years, and we generate only a certain amount of traffic, it's like, okay. You know, we've talked to them about how do we utilize this platform, and they were very nice to us. And with all due respect to Spotify, they were telling us, like, here's how you can improve things. We're really excited you're here. They were asking us, would you please launch? We love your show. It's a great show. It's a big show. You get great numbers. We said, sure, I guess. Then we joined Rumble. Our YouTube viewership, largely the same. There's been a little shift. Some people prefer Rumble, so they watch there instead. Largely the same. We do, 45,000 concurrents. Down a little bit maybe, but we're doing 18,000 on Rumble now. On Rumble, we do 200 to 300,000 views on Timcast IRL. On YouTube, we do 350 on average. Some episodes are 5, some are more. On the podcast platforms in general, we do about 100. Then the clips are separate. I want y'all to understand this as the media's landscape's changing. I'm biased, right? I have a deal with Rumble. I have equity in the company and all that. Understand all of that. I'm just saying the reason I did the deal, we launched this, and Rumble is already beating Spotify in podcast numbers. So if I were to give someone advice, and they were asking me, like, I want to launch a podcast, where should I put it? And I'm like, Rumble. I mean, I got to be honest, like, you go to Spotify, the algorithmic drive, the mechanism for promotion and discovery isn't there. It's really difficult. It's editorial, it's small, it's hard to navigate. The website doesn't function as well for it. Don't get me wrong, music, they're the best. I love Spotify. And I don't mean no disrespect on this, but Rumble was built for the video podcast. And now we're talking about the podcast presidency, quite literally Dan Bongino joining the Trump administration. Rumble owns video podcasting. Now, obviously, the biggest player is YouTube. Apple is non-existent. Spotify is trying to play a 10-year catch-up, way behind. And Rumble's been building this out intentionally for this purpose. Now, Rumble, with YouTube, with the massive resources, is barreling through, making massive developments and moving in the space. Rumble is still the only real dedicated platform for this. And so I will just stress it again. We launch on Spotify. We're getting, we might get like 40, 50K views we launch day one on Rumble, 350,000. And that's a new show for the first time. And I'm just like, kind of crazy, huh? Now, you may be saying to yourself, yeah, but Tim, there's an audience on Rumble that watches, right? You've got Dan Bongino, Crowder. Many of these people are familiar with your content. Let me just pause you right there. You're not wrong, but Spotify, everybody's on. Everybody's on Spotify. So how does it make sense? I'm just saying, man, this network effect is going to be massive for all of us. It's going to be massive. The morning show is now the way they track the biggest live shows, they don't combine viewership of multiple platforms. They only do single platform. If I were to take the concurrent viewership of this morning live stream right now, the 1 hour show on YouTube and Rumble, it's like the 15th biggest live stream in the world. Individually, it's like number 27 and 35 or something. And then Timcast IRL is usually in the top 10. Now with Rumble, Timcast, well, for a while, to be fair, last year, the show was usually in the top 3. But more and more people are getting into space. We've never been the biggest and most famous personalities. So as this landscape is starting to diversify and spread out, and prominent personalities like Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens are entering the live space, they're certainly doing way better than we are in terms of live viewership. They're way more famous. But my point is that network effect combination allowed us a massive boost, and we got more plans coming, baby. We are going to see the end of the corporate narrative machine. The network effect is going to be bigger shows with more influence, more familiarity, and ubiquity, but no top-down editor telling us what we can or cannot say. And that's going to be amazing. Smash that like button, friends. Join Rumble Premium. Use promo code TIM10. Go to timcastpremium.com. I'm going to read some of your super chats here and a couple of the Rumble rants. All right. Huron X Bearcat says, what day was your daughter born? I'm February 20th, and I want to know if we share a birthday. Congrats to you and your wife. That was indeed the day. I don't know. I shouldn't give out too many details. I'll keep some of it private. But that was the day I tweeted that I was on IRL and I said my daughter's being born. So I figure everyone knows that. Major Pain in your gaming says, today I'm celebrating 19 years with my beautiful wife, Jody. Side note, you and I will both be 39 in March. Right on, brother. We are entering old manhood. Old manhood. Let's go. Adrian Contreras says, I love it. Joy is one of the most vile people on television. Sunny from The View is the only one worse on the list. She is. She's awful. It's crazy. Packamon says, off topic, but can you shout out my brother's band? They just dropped their first single. They are all shirts, no pants, and the song is called Elishaba. Well, right on. Ice Castle says, Doge needs to hire a side investigative team to see how much of the USAID money went to purchasing of homes in the United States laundered to invaders. Interesting. Let's see what we got in the old Rumble rant department. Coldtown 992 says, I agree with Rachel Maddow. MSNBC should fire 2 of their White House. Also, to balance things out. Conservative B says, Rachel Maddow is next on the chopping block. Indeed, my friends. Okay, let's we'll grab another Rumble rant. I saw one just now. Pepe Bain says, big fan of your content. However, doesn't Dan giving up the fame he's financially set say more about you than him? Why don't you start public service? Trump Rich chose to serve. Same with Dan and Pete. And I literally said yesterday, I am not half the man Dan Bongino is. I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I could dedicate my time and energy towards a passion. Well, look, I'll put it this way. My passion's never been government. Dan is. Dan worked in law enforcement. Dan was in the Secret Service. Dan his passion is very seriously in being, he was in government. And now he's seeing the problems and he wants to call them out. My passion's always been media. So I don't want to sell myself too short. But then, I have spent so much time and energy working on this and building this up, and I have a mission and a plan. I don't know that I have it in me the same way Dan does. And so when you say, doesn't it say more about me than him? That's literally my point yesterday. I said I wasn't half the man he was. I said, there's so many people that wouldn't be willing to give up everything they've built to go work a civil service job. That's why Dan is so commendable. He is a better man than we. I mean, that's crazy. Look, the challenge for me, obviously, is with the company. I've got employees. If I decide to leave, they're all out of work. I don't know how many employees Dan has or the team involved, but understand this too. Dan's not just making the sacrifice personally. There's people around him. You know, he does sales. He does sponsor spots. There are people who do that job for him that are going to lose money on this now. Dan is making a tremendous, tremendous sacrifice. I deeply respect it. Let's see if we'll grab one more. Let's see. TP Project says the level of vitriol from the side that mainstreamed the team only proves how crazy the left's level of projection is. Indeed, my friends. Indeed, indeed. A slow news day, to be completely honest. You know, a lot of the news, you know, whenever you see news stories about like celebrity couples, you're like, all right, we get it. People are chilling out. But there's still a lot more to come. Got more segments coming up for you, updates on the Elon story, and we're going to see how things play out, my friends. So smash that like button, share the show, take the URL, post it wherever you can. It really does help. Join Rumble Premium for our premium content and everybody else's, and join our Discord community. Go to timcast.com, click join us, and get in the Discord where 20,000 individuals are building shows, making video games, making comic books, writing books. We want to incubate culture. We want you guys to join and make friends and get connected, so that you guys can work together and create that sphere of influence. I'm going to wrap it up there, my friends. We got more segments to come. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all in the next segment, about an hour.